Explore the counterintuitive truths that separate survivors from victims in life-threatening situations. Survival is full of paradoxes, where your instincts can betray you and counterintuitive choices become the key to staying alive. The first and most deadly paradox: your natural panic response can kill you faster than the danger is. When danger strikes, adrenaline floods your body, urging you to act fast, but speed kills and stillness saves. Your body floods with adrenaline, overwhelming the brain's ability to make rational decisions. As adrenaline increases, rational thinking decreases, creating a deadly feedback loop. The best response is often the opposite of instinct: stop, breathe, and think before acting. People who survive plane crashes, shipwrecks, or avalanches are rarely the strongest or fastest. They're the calmest. Survival equals a calm mind divided by your panic response. The first rule is to survive your own mind. The second paradox challenges our hoarding instincts. Sometimes spending energy early saves you later. You'd think conserving every calorie and drop of water is wise, but strategic spending often saves lives. Building a shelter before nightfall, even when exhausted, prevents hypothermia, which is a leading cause of death. Spending energy now buys life later. It's about strategic investment, not hoarding. Nature rewards the strategist who knows what to spend and when, not the miser who hoards everything. Drinking water early helps regulate temperature and avoid heat stroke, while hoarding it too long can backfire. Perhaps the deepest paradox: in survival, you must be both compassionate and ruthless. Humans evolved to live in groups, but in emergencies, cooperation and competition clash in complex ways. A survivor must be willing to share resources, but also act decisively when others freeze in fear. Teamwork keeps you alive, yet leadership sometimes means defying consensus for the greater good. The survivor walks a tightrope between compassion and ruthlessness, finding balance in extreme conditions. Beyond physical challenges lies the psychological paradox of hope. It's too much hope leads to denial, too little leads to despair. Survivors describe a quiet hope in between. This quiet hope is calm, adaptive, and realistic, accepting the worst while working toward the best. Survival hope equals reality plus optimism, a delicate balance that keeps you grounded yet motivated. This balance between instinct and intellect, emotion and reason, proves humanity's most extraordinary trait. Survival is not about following instincts, it's about mastering paradoxes. 4 key paradoxes define survival: panic, resources, social dynamics, and hope all require counterintuitive thinking. First paradox: fight your panic instincts, because stillness beats speed in survival situations. Second paradox: spend resources strategically, because energy invested now can save your life later. Third paradox: balance compassion with decisive action when surviving in groups. Fourth paradox: maintain quiet hope that's realistic, avoiding both denial and despair. Ultimately, survival equals intellect divided by instinct, the ability to override what feels natural. In the end, humanity proves its most extraordinary trait: the ability to survive not just nature, but ourselves. Explore 3 critical survival paradoxes, where doing what feels right can actually get you killed. In survival situations, your instincts can betray you. What feels safe might be deadly, and what seems risky might save your life. First, let's tackle the most dangerous paradox. How much water should you drink? Your instinct says conserve water, save it for later. But this creates a deadly trap. Even mild dehydration quietly wrecks your cognition, thermoregulation, and decision-making skills. Rationing small sips often fails because you continue losing water through sweat and respiration. When you underdrink, your brain function deteriorates, leading to navigation errors and poor decisions that waste even more water. The paradox: saving water leads to bad decisions, which causes you to lose even more water than you saved. A hiker in 40-degree heat tried to save water, got confused, missed a turn, and spent 2 extra hours exposed. His wrong turn cost him 2 hours of exposure, losing far more fluid than he tried to save. Best practice is front-load planning. Travel during cool hours, reduce exertion, and seek shade. When you plan smart, drinking to thirst aligns with drinking to plan within a conservative budget. Sodium replacement protects plasma volume, so the same amount of water goes much farther. The second paradox: should you keep moving or build shelter? Motion gets you to rescue faster, but exposure can kill you before you arrive. Moving generates body heat, but wind chill and wet clothes can make movement a net cooling process. Static shelter preserves warmth and conserves water, yet delays evacuation and burns precious daylight. The key insight: stopping early to build proper shelter often lets you move farther and safer tomorrow. A 30-minute shelter investment returns hours of survivable rest and stable core temperature. One team camped below the ridge at 15:30, stayed dry, and crossed safely at 8 o'clock the next morning. The group that pressed on ended up bivouacking soaked and hypothermic just 2 kilometers farther. The 2-kilometer gain meant nothing compared to the hypothermia risk they took on. The final paradox: fire can save you or kill you, depending on how you use it. Fire prevents hypothermia, purifies water, and boosts morale, but it also carries deadly risks. Fire provides warmth, purifies water, boosts morale, and can deter some dangerous animals. But in enclosed shelters, fire risks carbon monoxide poisoning. In drought, it can spark wildfires. In enclosed shelters, carbon monoxide can accumulate silently, causing hypoxia and death. Survival fire is about control, microfires, proper ventilation, and timing signals strategically. Use Dakota fire pits for concealment and upside-down self-feeding stacks for efficiency. A candle in a snow cave provides warmth but drops oxygen levels dangerously. Adding a vent hole and switching to an external stove prevents headache and hypoxia. Switch to smoky, high-contrast signal fires only when rescue assets are overhead. These 3 paradoxes reveal a deeper truth about survival situations. Water, movement, and fire all share the same pattern. What feels safe can kill you. With water, drinking too little impairs the very judgment you need to find more water. With movement, pushing too far prevents the rest you need to travel safely tomorrow. With fire, misusing it in enclosed spaces or wrong times creates dangers worse than the cold its. True survival comes from knowledge, planning, and the discipline to do what works, not what feels right. Train your mind to override instinct with reason, because in survival situations, your gut feeling is often your worst enemy. Explore the counterintuitive survival strategies that can save your life in extreme situations. Survival situations demand quick thinking and understanding of counterintuitive principles that challenge common sense. Should you eat to maintain energy or avoid eating to preserve warmth? The answer is more complex than you think. Food provides glucose and morale, but digestion diverts blood to the gut and increases evaporative water loss. In hypothermia, eating large, cold meals can worsen afterdrop by pulling warm blood away from your core. When you eat, blood rushes to your digestive system, temporarily reducing circulation to vital organs and extremities. Cold food must be warmed by your body before digestion, creating an immediate energy deficit when you can least afford it. The solution is small, frequent, high-energy snacks with carbohydrates, a bit of fat, and salt. Small, frequent snacks paired with movement outperform big, infrequent meals at rest in cold conditions. A shivering skier in wet clothes improves faster by changing layers and sipping hot sweet tea than by eating a cold protein bar. Think of it like drip-feeding a generator to keep it running smoothly, rather than dumping fuel into a stalled cold engine. In extreme heat, appetite suppression is actually protective. Force-feeding risks gastrointestinal distress and water debt. In hot conditions, prioritize water before food in short durations. Prioritize safe calories only when exposure stabilizes. Should you make yourself visible for rescue or stay hidden for safety? The answer involves strategic visibility. Visibility speeds rescue but may attract threats like unstable crowds, poachers, or hostile actors. The solution is selective visibility. Time-boxed signaling synchronized to probable search windows. Maximize visibility during known search times using mirrors, whistle codes, and search and rescue panels. But minimize persistent signatures that broadcast your location 24/7, like bright campfires or constant lights. Use terrain masking to hide your camp while keeping signal equipment separate and ready for scheduled use. A lost paddler hangs an orange panel and mirror flashes when overflights are likely, but keeps the night fire below the bluff. Like a lighthouse that flashes on schedule rather than leaving every building lit all night. When seconds count, should you stop the bleeding or rush to evacuate? Understanding the platinum minutes is critical. Rapid evacuation is life-saving, but uncontrolled hemorrhage kills in minutes, faster than most transports. The paradox resolves with the March protocol: massive bleeding, airway, respiration, circulation, hypothermia, all before movement. MARCH stands for massive bleeding, airway, respiration, circulation, and hypothermia prevention. Tourniquets and wound packing take only seconds, but can save a life by controlling massive bleeding immediately. Remember, cold blood does not clot. Hypothermia prevention is an essential part of hemorrhage control. Example: after a chainsaw laceration, apply tourniquet and pressure dressing in 90 seconds, then move. The alternative of dragging the victim immediately without stopping bleeding results in death on the trail. Think of it like putting out the kitchen fire before calling the contractor. Save the house, then plan repairs. Training is essential because it dramatically lowers the time cost of providing correct emergency care. These survival paradoxes reveal that intuition can be deadly without proper knowledge. In cold conditions, small frequent snacks with movement outperform large meals eaten while resting. For visibility, use time-box signaling during probable search windows, but maintain stealth otherwise. For bleeding emergencies, follow MARCH protocol before any movement. Those seconds invested save lives. Survival equals knowledge of these principles, plus training to execute them, plus discipline to override panic. Explore 3 critical survival paradoxes that separate experienced wilderness travelers from beginners. Today we examine 3 paradoxes: minimal kit versus redundancy, straight line versus terrain following and slowing down to speed up. The first paradox balances ultralight speed against reliable backup systems. Ultralight gear boosts range and speed, but redundancy provides fault tolerance when systems fail in the field. The mantra, 1 is none, 2 is 1, applies only to mission-critical items: fire, water, navigation, medical, light, shelter, and communication. Carrying a lighter infrarod plus a chemical tablet and filter beats 2 of any single item because they have different failure modes. Smart redundancy shifts from hardware to skills: master knots, friction fires, and celestial navigation to reduce what you carry. Multi-use items are key. A bandana serves as water filter, arm sling, and signal flag without adding duplicate mass. The second paradox compares geometric efficiency with physiological reality. A straight bearing minimizes distance, but following ridgelines and game trails reduces energy, injuries, and navigation errors. Smart travelers optimize for lowest cost of transport, not shortest distance. This means using handrails like ridges and streams. A team choosing a ridge path, adding 15% distance, often arrives sooner and safer than a direct bushwhack through blowdown. In dense forest and snow, straight-line drift is common without frequent compass checks, causing you to walk in circles. Without terrain features or frequent bearing checks, most people unconsciously walk in large circles rather than straight lines. The third paradox shows how deliberate slowness accelerates rescue and survival. The Yerkes-Dodson law shows performance peaks at moderate arousal. Too much adrenaline wrecks fine motor skills and spatial judgment. A deliberate pause using stop, think, observe, plan often shortens total rescue time by preventing compounding mistakes. The STOP protocol provides a simple checklist that keeps arousal in the optimal band during emergencies. Box breathing, or 4-7-8 breathing patterns, physiologically lower arousal and restore fine motor control. Box breathing uses equal 4-second intervals for inhale, hold, exhale, hold to rapidly calm the nervous system. Confidence comes from rehearsal. Panic comes from novelty plus uncertainty. Pre-made if-then rules prevent decision paralysis. A climber cliffed out at dusk who spends 3 minutes inventorying gear and options safely descends, while the rushed partner needs rescue.